2-drink minimum saying is Zatanna is A+. Yeah, Maladroit, I agree with that recommendation, and I would send you all over to check out Patty Gertie as well. She's very good at her craft. The hurdy-gurdy is a very interesting instrument, and she does one heck of a job on it. So that's really cool, Maladroit, that you're getting lessons from her. That's I am a wee bit jelly at that. Hey, Grimvex, welcome. Grimvex, you're here just in time. We're pulling some capsules, and now, I mean, if any of you want boxes or capsules, that's fine. We'll wait till the end of the character. But this is just we're just beginning to make a multi-class. Now, we made a multi-class last night, and that one we multi-classed the special sorcerer with the special warlock. What I want to do tonight, in order to continue to take a look at these subclasses and how they might work, or if we come across a really interesting interaction, I want to multi-class them, but into not a sorcerer with the warlock or a warlock with the sorcerer. Even if we go to a great old one or, an infernal pact or something, I would like to see, well, what happens if we get, we're going to make the sorcerer first. What happens if we get a sorcerer barbarian or a warlock ranger? Could be very interesting. And if not, then we're going to make it interesting. All right, so we have our handy-dandy character creation guide right here. And for any of you following along at home, hope you have your player's handbooks ready, because we're going to be going to Chapter 4 after this initial place-holding set of rolls. A Rage Mage, we'll see. It could be a Barbarian. There's a 1 in 11 chance, right? So, our multi-class Sorcerer... what is that? No, it's Aria of Sorrow. LOS is shoot. Which one is LOS, Spicy Larry? I was gonna say, Lament. Lords of Shadow, gotcha.
Subway 100 bonus 10.
Oh, thank you, Shukan. Oh, what do you want to direct that towards? Is Lords of Shadow the one that has Patrick Stewart as a voice in it? He did a voice in one Castlevania game, and it looked really cool. Alright, so I'm going to roll a percentile set, and let's find out. Do we have a female or a male character? And because I know we're multi-classing, I'm just going to extend this 1 to 50 female, 51 to 100 is male. You just finished it for the 4th or 5th time today and got super inspired to make a Belmont. Ah, okay, yep. Then I know the one you're talking about. I haven't played it, Spicy, but I know, at least I'm aware of the one you're talking about. We rolled a 44, so we have a female character. And now, let's tie her to one of the player's handbook races. We're going to roll a d10. 4. A gnome. And which kind of gnome? We rolled odds, so we have a forest gnome. A female forest gnome. I picked it up because I cut off the fingers on my right hand. They're reattached. And it meant I could no longer play the guitar. So I found the hurdy-gurdy because the crank's on the right. So I didn't need the dexterity in my right hand and could still play. Well, Maladroit, I mean, it sounds like you've recovered from that incident, and you found something that you really enjoy doing, and that is so much. you know, not that people just want to pick up an instrument aren't motivated or it's not an inspiring story, but especially Maladroit, with you sharing that personal struggle to overcome, that's you know, it makes it all the more meaningful, and it gives a maybe even a more unique touch on your learning the hurdy-gurdy. Maladroit, that's a really awesome story to share. And I'm not saying that like, oh yeah, hey, thanks, and you know, just pass that along, but no, to hear about other people who are stepping up and doing these really cool things. Sverf Neblin, Shukan are not in the player's handbook. Though a Sverf Neblin, just kind of from the get-go, would probably make him for a very good Aberrant Sorcerer. Because, well, who else lives underground traditionally? Mind Flayers and some other psionic users. Just pay it forward? I will. In fact, Shukan, did you hear? Did you hear what I did with the shipping donation from Tuesday that you gave? Spicy says, I've always wanted to learn the hurdy-gurdy after hearing a rendition of Beowulf with it, and a theremin. Oh, a theremin could be a fun one for you too, Maladroit. Shukan, when my brain is focused, it's not a long story, but I'll let you know. Remind me when we're finishing up this character, if you don't mind. All right, so we have a female forest gnome. We rolled 22, a neutral good. A neutral good female forest gnome. We already know the level. Now, it's going to be a level 18 character. Now, where we split sorcerer and whatever else, we'll see. It might just be a little splash. We might go halvesies. Who knows? Now, are we going to take any feats or go all ASIs? With a 34 roll, we're taking just all stat bumps. 12 for 10. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining us and being here. It's great having you. And I hope you weren't holding back any jokes during any of the table talk either. 12 for 10. Now I love this part. Oh, of course, puns and bad jokes are always welcome, especially if they're relevant to what we're doing. No, you do not have to, Custos. You could multi-class at level 2. Take one level in whatever you started in and one level in something else, as long as you meet the stat requirement. Yeah, Gertie players are not too common. All right? We're getting a break from 12 for 10. All right, then you better have some sizzlers when we're coming back. There are usually 13 backgrounds, but because these expand out the options, there's 18. So I'm going to generate an 18-sided die and roll it. And we got an 18. We have an Urchin. An Urchin. So let's start filling this in. We have a female forest gnome. And of course, forest gnomes are small, SMOL. We are neutral good in our demeanor. And our background is Urchin. And of course, we're going to start off as Sorcerer. Slash, and then something else. And we'll find out what that is. As well as the split in levels. All right. And you know what? While we're here, I'm also going to roll up some placeholders for her personality. Whoop, oh, I forgot to change that to a 2. Anyway, 2, an 8. And then an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. 165. There we go. I don't know what they mean just yet, and that's absolutely fine. They're placeholders, and we're going to find out together. In just a little bit here. Oh, yeah, the stat requirements. It's a 13 in a particular stat or stats that you have to have in your originating class and the class into which you want to multi-class. Electing a noble vampire to lead your city is like having a nightmare. And the punchline? Or did I miss it already? Because I the pun is nightmare. Then I'm sorry, Shukan, if I... You got me. I completely should have got that one. Oh, gosh. Yes, a nightmare. You zinged me, Shukan. Yep. Or a nightmare, yes. That... I'm blushing. I should have got that one. Oh my goodness. What is our multi-class for this sorcerer? My goodness. It is. It's delightfully cheesy. I should have got that one. This is Friday the 13th. I'm being all derpy today. I'm missing an excellent pun. Well, at least I get the satisfaction of hitting this golden yellow button. Of course I'll blame it on a number. That way, you know, I avoid all agency in my own decisions and responsibilities. It's a lot easier to blame an abstract concept. So our sorcerer is apparently multi-classing with sorcerer. So by rolling a 10, we're actually going to be re-rolling this multi-class. And so, let's try this again and hopefully not get another 10. Do any of you have... is there anything that you would like to see? I mean, kind of like, you know, get your bets in now, folks. Come on, before he hits the button. What is going to be our sorcerer multi-class? Let us know, let us know. Put it on the board. If anyone out there is getting a feeling, a funny feeling, I think we're going to get, you know, we said a rage mage earlier. Am I going to roll a 1 and get a barbarian? We'll see. Spicy Larry's hoping for a cleric. Okay. A Barsorcian. So Black Wolf is locking in barbarian. Spicy Larry's going for cleric. Grimvex wants a classic sorcerer paladin. Daly's thinking it's going to be a ranger for no good reason. Monk says Custos Lupus. It's redundant, Shukan. And Refray wants a rogue? Well, let's find out. Raz wants Warlock. Well, Warlock is going to be off the table for this one, Raz, because we're already going to be doing a Warlock, and we also made the Sorcerer Warlock combo last night. So here we go. Here we go. I rolled a 5, and so no one said fighter. Oh, goodness. So we are a Sorcerer fighter. Sorcerer fighter. And which kind of fighter? A battle master, a champion, or an Eldritch Knight? It's a red mage of Thay, says Daily. You know, it would be homebrewed, but I would love to have circle magic. Or like group magic, you know? Anyway, let's roll a d3. I rolled a 1, so we are an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer that is a Battlemaster fighter. A Sorcerer, says Black Wolf. Oh, cool. What's for breakfast, Grimvex? A fatal attraction. I got that one. I'm on to you now, Shukan. All right, and now we have to look up the forest gnome to find out her age and her dimensions, her height and her weight. And if you want any other dimensions, you got to ask her nicely. Wood elf, sea elf. Well, there's Genasi, Gith, forest gnome. Let the puns fly, Shukan. Absolutely. All right, now let's roll for her age, and then her height and her weight. Percentile set to find out where in her life she is. We rolled 50, so she is an adult. And for forest gnomes, being an adult makes you chronologically 165 or a D165 plus 40 years. So I'm going to generate a 165-sided die, and then we're going to add 40 to this. And so she is an adult gnome at 75 years old. Yep, all the cat butt. All the cat butt. Wyvern and dragon. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Maladrate asks, did they change the rules for dual versus multi-class? You can multi-class as many times as you want, and the rules are the same, Maladrate. Now, gnomes have a base height of 2 feet 11 inches, and we're going to add 2d4 inches to her height. So just 2 inches. So she's clocking in at 3 feet 1 inch tall. This same 2-pound modifier is being with the height modifier is being multiplied by the weight and added to the base weight. So she is 37 pounds. Yeah, 3.5 had some. 3.5 had that kind of stuff going on. Shukan. A drowsy. Yeah, drowsy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what you're getting with dual class. Like, are you counting our sorcerer fighter dual class, or what are you talking about? Something else? Or are you talking about somehow like taking like multiple subclasses for the same class? All right. Hi, bud. I know you just love laying here, and your lovely self sometimes pushes buttons. All right, so we have an outline for our character, and I believe that we have enough prompts to begin looking into who she is and what led her down this interesting path that she's on. And, you know, I'll tell you, being a battle master fighter, if these party members were traveling together, their story and their cohesion is going to be so solid. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to open up the player's handbook, and we're going to go to chapter 4 because I love beginning with the background of the character. And we're going to scroll to the end for Urchin, as this is where her story begins. With some kind of an ending, even. Our skill proficiencies, and I'm going to scoot this over so you all can see this a little bit better. Our skill proficiencies are going to be sleight of hand and stealth. We are also going to have some tool proficiencies with a These Guys kit. And thieves' tools. Equipment, a small knife. And you know what? Our sages have something special like that as well. And I wonder, as we're building this party character by character, and we're seeing things that are, well, maybe I'm getting a little too far ahead of myself. Hold on to that thought. So a small knife could be just a little pocket knife, and your DM says, whatever, it's a letter opener, or it's just it always deals 1 damage. Whatever, just you hit with it. Or you might have, it's a special knife, and you treat it like a dagger, and it's 1d4. We also have a map of the city we grew up in. So down here, I'm going to write city map. After that, we have a pet mouse. Now, does it have to be a mouse? Not necessarily. Does this character, would this character have a pet snake instead? A pet tarantula? I don't know, a pet goldfish that she carries around in a bag? Let's use this as a prompt that she does care after a very small animal of some kind. So a pet, question mark, question mark, question mark. After this, a token to remember your parents by. And you know what? A token sounds an awful lot like a trinket. And I definitely believe, because all of the other characters, it's uncanny, all of our other characters have trinkets that have tied into how they've gained their aberrant or lurking powers. That so too should this character. And our parental token is trinket number something. A set of common clothes. And a belt pouch with 10 gold in it. Now, our background feature is City Secrets. You know the secret patterns and flow to cities and can find passages through the urban sprawl that others would miss. When you are not in combat, you and companions you lead can travel between any 2 locations in the city twice as fast as your speed would normally allow. So this could include all of the gutters and sewers and rooftops and other interesting places to perhaps come into contact with interesting beings who will impart their power upon you. All right. Now, what about her personality? Who is this character? Who is this gnome you see? Staring right back at me. Her first personality trait is number 2. I ask a lot of questions. It's good to be savvy. It's good to know things. Find out what's crack-a-lackin', my kraken. Because maybe it is actually a relevant question. You may have a kraken. And our personality trait number 2 is option 8. I bluntly say what other people are hinting at or hiding. She's very blunt. So, there's a couple there's a couple that are talking, and she comes up, listens for a little bit, and goes, I think he likes you. Or she's walking by a grocery stall in the marketplace, and, walks by a woman who's talking to one of the grocer merchants there. He's trying to ask, are you eating for 2 because you're pregnant, or are you eating for 2 because you're fat? She'll walk by, and, I don't know, there's someone who is, selling something, and someone is hemming and hawing over the price. Can't you see? That's way too expensive. Look at this guy. And just very bluntly state what other people are thinking or what they're trying to hide. So again, you have look, as a gnome, you can see other things that people don't normally. You go by, you better watch out. This guy just slipped a dagger into his pocket. I don't know why. Now, her ideal is number 1. Respect. All people, rich or poor, deserve respect. So she may have grown up poor. She might have grown up, facing the loss of loved ones or things along those lines. But she wants to overcome that and be a better person for it. Now, what about her bond? What bonds her to this fantasy world in which we are, imagining this game taking place? It's very meta. We're pretending to be players and DMs running a game in a game about pretending to be other people doing things. He says he's going to kill you because he has the death warrant in 5 cities. That's something else that could be blurted out, Raz. Exactly. That's a fun role-playing prompt, too, that I hope the other players... you might have other players go, why'd you give that away? Or maybe in character and hopefully not out of character. But that can cause some very interesting times at the table. Now, her bond is number 6. No one else should have to endure the hardships I've been through. I got myself up by the bootstraps. I worked hard. I used to be a nobody. Now I'm a somebody. I started off with nothing, and I still have most of it left. The thief tried to find traps among the ornate wall carvings, but all he felt was a great relief. Good one, Shukan. Our flaw, despite being optimistic and believing in people, our flaw is number 5. It's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. And she could still very much have a good disposition, her alignment being neutral good, because she is setting herself as the one who measures, I know what I'm going to do with it. And you know what? If this person who is getting ready to throw out day-old bread, you know, won't even hand it out to people, but is getting ready to, like, throw it out, then she may not have a problem stealing day-old bread the 2 minutes before the shop closes, because the baker doesn't want it or need it, and someone else really does, because that's eventually where it's going to end up. Shukan prompts, what happens when a lycanthrope wears an animal pelt they legally purchased? Werewolf wore wolf wares, swore wolf wares, wear theirs. Whew, that'd be a tough one 10 times in a row, too. Custos Lupus, I don't know if you're still out there, but there's a challenger has appeared. All right, so we have a very optimistic gnome. Forest Gnome at that, so of course, you know, that can invoke Bright from our Tuesday game. They're absolutely fine, Shukan. I like that one was a tongue twister as well. I don't know a Noah, so probably not. Probably not. Do you want me to call you Two Drink here, or do you want me to call you Mozzarella Sticks? Because either's fine. I'm comfortable with either. Ah, there we go. Custos Lupus, who challenges me? Mazza works, or Matza works. Oh, okay. So Custos Shukan had a good pun/tongue twister, just up above. I need this 100 gold pearl for one of my spells more than the lady of the house needs an earring. Yeah, because she knows that her spells are going to go towards good, right? Now, that doesn't mean that she's always going to steal, or that, you know, she's going to take every opportunity to always judge this. But that's her justification. That she will steal. I mean, she's opportunistic in that fashion. Which, in a way, is also going to... her flaw could very much endear her to Ravar, and his ideal of, in life as in war, the stronger force wins. But I'm getting ahead of myself for things like a relationship map. We're not going to do that tonight. It's a tough one, Custos. It absolutely is. So now we know who she is, and we can begin thinking about who, you know, her beginnings, her decision making. When we see Urchin, and of course, you know, we have an adult. You know, she's not some scampy little, you know, Oliver Twist. But she very much could have grown up in some kind of a bad house, no house. She could be an orphan because of an accident, or something happened, like a, you know, it was you know, a targeted thing, you know, a mob hit or something. Or again, it was they're bystanders because the people next door owed money and there was a firebomb thrown in it, and the parents went to help and they died and left her. Or she could be a war orphan. Or she could have all of her parents and her family, but as an urchin, she just, you know, she was out on the streets a lot because they could have been poor, or honestly, Urchin could just be a scamp. You know, think like a Tom Sawyer type, kind of like a tomboy. You know, what if she just really loved the streets of the city as a kid? And, you know, she'd come home, her parents would be like, you got to be home by the time that they put on the lamp lights. And yet we just have this little tomboy gnome going out as a kid and just was fine, you know, getting into a tussle, you know, exploring the gutters and sewers, you know, poking a dead body with a stick with the rest of the kids who found it. You know, all the stuff that you do when you're growing up in a big medieval fantasy city. Hey, Derek. Oh, I mean, if you want it back, Derek, that's fine. But I figured because, you know, things were accelerating and you were doing a bunch of things there that, you know, you've been put on relief for right now. Did we lose sheep? The force a habit. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, so as I said, you know, growing up, poking dead bodies, she could very much have a full family. She might have, you know, 6 siblings, and you know, and everyone gets together for the holidays still. But she grew up as this, kind of as a scamp. A urchin could also be scamp, could be ragamuffin. There are many. Go to thesaurus.com. There you go. I gotcha, Custos. When we're reviewing the Cyberpunk 2185, because that's based on 5th edition D&D, definitely keep that one going too. All right, so now that we have our background and we know more, or at least we've prompted more about this character, let's find out what she gets by virtue of being a gnome. And in particular, a forest gnome. All gnomes have an intelligence bump of 2. Whoop, that's a 1. I'm smart. SMRT. We have our age and our alignment. We have our size. Our speed is 25 feet. So filling this in, we have 25, 12, 12, 0. We do get 60 feet of dark vision, because we have those big lovely eyes that we've inherited, presumably from our Fey cousins. We also have gnome cunning. You have advantage on all intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws against magic. And we can also speak Common and Gnomish. I learned the Disintegrate spell for one reason and one reason only. The earning potential, as in putting people into urns, their ashes, because you disintegrated them. I had to do a quick double take on that one, Shukan, but it clicked before I opened my mouth. Now, as a forest gnome, our dexterity goes up by 1, and we also get the natural illusionist cantrip. You know, minor illusion and intelligence is our spellcasting for it. So natural illusionist, minor illusion, and that's int based. And we can also speak with small beasts. Through sounds and gestures, you can communicate simple ideas with smaller beasts. Forest gnomes love animals and often keep squirrels, badgers, rabbits, moles, woodpeckers, and other creatures as beloved pets. And this could help explain the pet that we're keeping as an urchin. And of course, this could include fish, because we certainly have that as an ongoing theme amongst everyone in the party. Blub, blub, blub. Speak with small beasts. Excellent. So we're an urchin. Now we're a gnome, particularly a forest gnome urchin. And now let's build our sorcerer, our aberrant mind sorcerer. And after that, we're going to tack on our levels of fighter. A question to ask then is, where would we want to make our split? I want it to it would at least be a 9-9 split, because we are making a sorcerer and then a fighter. However, I wouldn't mind it if it was even more dominant in some way. So, for example, let's say that we went to 10th level as a sorcerer, and then we checked out what 8 levels of fighter would give us. Well, 8 levels of fighter would bring us here. And we'd actually get we'd get 3 ASIs from it. So we could go 10 and 8. Because we'd also get another martial archetype feature from it. Now, if we went 9-9, then we would get Indomitable, one use of Indomitable, and we come down to Sorcerer. And at level 9, we would get our fifth level spell slot. We wouldn't get another meta magic. We'd be a little bit behind in that case. You know, and then did we want to tip it? You know, or so go 10-8 or 9-9 or mix around here. So taking a look, let's look at who she is before anything else. I ask a lot of questions. I bluntly say what other people are hinting at or hiding. All people, rich or poor, deserve respect. I mean, charisma is definitely going to be a big thing for her here. No one else should have to endure the hardships I've been through. So she's protective and encouraging. It's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. And I think for her to get another meta magic, slot to enhance her magic and make her better at what she does, is going to be more important than Indomitable. Because you can reroll a saving throw that you fail. If you do, use the new roll. Especially because she already has advantage on 3 versus magic. And I know it's a lot more selective, but I would imagine, I mean, it's covering a lot of effects. More than just dodging out of the way of a fireball. Which is magic, but it's a dex save. Custo says, and with that death, since I'm almost literally falling asleep on my keyboard, I'm going to head to bed and get some sleep. Have fun, everyone, and I hope you have a fantastic... Thank you, Custos. And Custos, thank you for the polls, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it, including that adult Ramoraz. A well-read dragon might just be a bookworm. And so in this case, especially because we're building the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer first, I mean, we're not like just on the edge of getting like a Sorcerous Origin feature. You know, if we did that, then we would go to 14, and so we wouldn't get our 18 capstone one, but we'd go to like 14, you know, kind of redline it, and then just splash 4 levels of fighter. But 4 levels of fighter wouldn't do a tremendous amount of stuff for us, I don't think. I'm kind of liking the 10-8 split. And so let's do that. Let's go 10 and 8 for an 18th level character. So first up, we're going to build our Sorcerer. And if any of you out there are watching this and you're like, what are you doing? You should clearly start with Fighter for more hit points and all of the weapons and all that other stuff. And you know what? In a pure mechanical sense, sure, maybe we start off as a fighter. But we're not making something for pure mechanics or optimization. I want to show off someone who started her story, her life, with this aberrant mind, right? With this kind of psionic disruption going on in her mind, who then later trained herself to become better, to stand up to bullies, to be a better person for other people. And so then we'll see what happens when you splash fighter in. Because, well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway. So, we are a D6 hit die class, and wouldn't you know it, but we get 10 D6 hit die because we're a level 10 sorcerer. And your hit die is a pool of natural recovery that you can expend during a rest, so you don't have to spend spells or potions or anything like that. We are going to get some weapon proficiencies. I'm just going to put sorcerer weapons because it's kind of a curated list, and it's a lot easier to just say sorcerer weapons than to list it all out. Now, we do not get any armor proficiencies, nor tool proficiencies. Our saving throws are Constitution and Charisma. Ah, good job on the prompt, O'Sheeps. O'Sheeps, are you going to do the D&D monster prompt in October, by the way? I think Macabre Derek wanted to step up and do that. You know, just do like a quick little, like an ink for each of the monsters. Now we get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. So growing up as we have, I ask a lot of questions. I bluntly say what other people are hinting at or hiding. I think investigation... oh, shoot. And I'm sorry, investigation isn't there. Insight. She senses that what people aren't saying. I think she is insightful. She cares after people. She's more of an emotional sorcerer in this case. And as well, I think persuasion, if this is your excuse, it's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. I think that persuasion would be good for her as well. You know, she has magic. I don't think she knows or even cares to understand about it. Because it's just not, it's not necessarily a part of, it's a part of who she is, but it's not something special or different. But let's go for insight and persuasion. You know what? She would look like, under the effects of this sorcery, she would look like the cover to J-Man's Post-Human Condition roleplay. If any of you know the cover I'm talking about, it's a little girl with big orange frog eyes. Yep, exactly. That would be her kind of, you know what? Oh, Sheeps, each of these subclasses is definitely, I mean, Derek and J-Man would have a field day with characters who manifest their powers the way that it's described the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer and the Lurker in the Deep Warlock Patron are. All right, what else? Starting equipment again. We're level 18. I'm not worried about a crossbow. And I will bring up that maybe our trinket, our token from parents or something else that's significant, could be our arcane focus. I love that. Instead of just being like everyone casts through a jewel or I don't know, like a golden scepter or something like that. But to cast through. Oh, no problem, O'Sheeps. I mean, you tell everyone else to stretch. You got to take your own advice, you know. But what if it is that jar of dirt? Well, in this or griffin grease, as our first sorcerer had. You know, something weird, something not quite right, a little bit off. And again, that trinket that very well could have set her down this path. Spellcasting, we're gonna get to it because it's not important right now. I mean, it's important, but not right now. So from our class, we have Font of Magic, which gives us sorcery points and the ability to modify how we use them. And so our Sorc points at level 10 are dun-da-da-da-da. Wouldn't you know it? We have 10 of them. How does that work? It's amazing. We are also going to get Meta Magic. And because we have 10 levels of it, Meta Magic, we're going to get our 2 from 3rd level. And our 3rd from 10th level. And wouldn't you know, this is the basic sorcerer loadout. We're not level 20 as a sorcerer, we never will. So we don't have to worry about that. And our sorceress origins, well, we're going to go to the Unearthed Arcana for that. So I'm not worried about any of this. I'm not going to choose her meta magic yet. For the reason, I think it would be excellent to consider her meta magic and her battle. I'm dropping on the name. What she gets as a battle master. Her stratagems, or we'll get to it here. Well, if you homebrew epic levels, then yes, she can eventually, after 10 more levels, be a level 20 sorcerer. All right, now, for our sorceress origin, the Aberrant Mind. Our archetype is going to give us invasive thoughts. We can use a bonus action to magically create a telepathic link with you and one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. And so this, as this is established, you can also speak with animals. They just can't really speak back. But they can understand you because you're speaking right into their brain telepathically. So we have invasive thoughts at level 1. We also get psionic spells. Psionic spells for this sorcerer are acting like domain spells, oath spells, and circle of the land spells. And so here, we're going to create... Dun, dun, dun. Actually, by going to 10, we also get to maximize out our psionics. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit so you can see predominantly this info, the new info we're reviewing. So we're going to get Arms of Hadar and Dissonant Whispers. We're going to get Calm Emotions and Detect Thoughts. Hunger of Hadar and Sending. Compulsion and Everard's Black Tentacles. Then Modify Memory and Rary's Telepathic Bond. Also at first level, we are a warped being. Starting at first level, your aberrant origin protects you from harm. Your body might have a coating of viscous slime, tough hide, scales, or an invisible psionic barrier. Whatever the form of protection takes, your AC equals 13 plus your dexterity modifier while you aren't wearing armor. So warped being... And we can have a lot of fun describing how her armor would look. You're suggesting I will roll for it, but hey, you know what? If you're locking it in and we get 48, wouldn't that be eerie, Raz? And I'll take a look real quick at what 48 is when we get to the last things here for her sorcery. At level 6, she gets Psionic Sorcery, which allows her to dip into her sorcery points to cast instead of her spell slots. And lastly, from this subclass, she gets Psychic Defenses. At 6th level, you gain resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. You know what would be interesting? This sorcerer, as a totem barbarian, would fit very well, and interestingly enough, make her resistant to all forms of damage. If she goes with the bear totem, that would be very interesting indeed. You know, speaking of multi-classing, right? So we are resistant to psychic damage. And we have advantages not just versus magic, but also charmed and frightened. So we get some conditions. Though that's kind of redundant with Int Wiz Chaw versus Magic, but you know, it could be a dragon's fear isn't necessarily magical, and so the gnomish resistance wouldn't take effect, but the frightened resistance from being the sorcerer would. Welcome back, O'Sheeps. You're locking the 48 in as our focus? Well, you know what? Oh, you're fine, O'Sheeps. Let's go back to the player's handbook. And real quick, at level 10, we know 6 cantrips. So we're gonna have quite an interesting list. So off of Natural Illusionist, we get Minor Illusion off of Int, and then we're gonna get 6 more cantrips for being a sorcerer. We are also getting 4, 3, 3, 3, and then 2 for our spell slots. 4, 3, 3, 3, and then 2. Our spellcasting abilities off of Charisma, and we are a sorcerer who has sorcery points that we're going to put up here, and we have 10 of them. Alright, let's see now. I ask a lot of questions. I bluntly say what other people are hinting at or hiding. Respect. All people, rich or poor, deserve respect. No one else should have to endure the hardships that I've been through. You know, scrimping and saving and all of this. It's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. Looking at the meta magic here. If she was growing up kind of in the streets as a scamp, a tomboy, whether or not she was an orphan. I think things that she would want to do is either to like look different, turn invisible, things along those lines. And so I think extended spell would be good. And possibly even distant spell, so that if someone's chasing after her or she's hiding, she can maybe, you know, like rattle the trash can 300 feet away instead of 30 feet away. I know it doesn't work like that, but you know the gist of it, right? And as well, let's see. I bluntly say things. No one else should have to endure the hardships I've been through. Oh, careful spell. She wants to preserve people. And especially to punish those who deserve it and to save people, those who don't. I think careful spell would absolutely fit her personality. Twin spell? All right, hey, I'm willing to replace something with twin spell. Can you explain which one we should replace or why twin spell would work, Shukan? And not that I'm looking for, like, you know, a 10-page thesis or anything, but I'm open for ideas. Absolutely. Guards are usually in pairs of 2. Ah. Better to target 2 people instead of just 1. Okay. So it's economical. I mean, if you want to write a 10-page thesis on socioeconomics and cantrip use, I'm fine. Hey, Maz, you play D&D long enough. There may be a PhD over a while, but you can earn a ton of associate's degrees and certificates in so many different disciplines effectively. Submit it to the committee by the end of the week. All right, so what then? So maybe instead of distance spell, then we go twin spell. There we go. I'm fine with that, Shukan. I like your reasoning. I think it's still very thematic for her and you know, the type of spell she'd choose and why she would go with that. You got away without having to write a thesis in college. Oh. Oh my. How'd you navigate those waters? Goodness, you gotta share these real-life hacks with us, To Drink. All right, now, before we add levels of fighter. Oh, in Comp Sci? I mean, because the rest of your programming days is going to be writing theses for all the programs you're doing, right? Let's look at multi-classing here in Chapter 6. When you multi-class, you have to have a basic score in your original class, and then you need to have a 13 in the stat or stats in the one in which you're going to. So we're going to need at least a 13 charisma, which should be very easy, and then either a strength or dex. Fighter's kind of loosey-goosey. Fighter goes both ways in that regard. So it's or. And so we'll build her as this works, does it? Did I stutter? Yeah, if you want to talk gunslingers, go ahead, To Drink. Now, as we're going to multi-class into fighter, and it's going to be easy to do with the stats that we need. Even off the standard array, if we took no bumps, we could still do this. Light armor, medium armor, shields, simple weapons, and martial weapons. So, we're getting a lot of good stuff here. So we're going to put simple and martial for weapons. Armor, we get light, medium, and shields. And there we go. Ta-da. There's no fighter spell slots to worry about, especially because we didn't take Eldritch Knight. And so we're just keeping the spell slots we have as a sorcerer. So, hey, wasn't that, that was fun and complex. Man, multi-classing in 5th edition is so much easier than in others. Alright, we have 8 D10 hit die from being a fighter, because we're a level 8 fighter as well. We are not going to have these proficiencies because we already did get the proficiencies we'd get from multi-classing. And no skills because that's a part of the proficiencies. Greatly, Shukan. I started in 3.5. I love 3.5. I have nostalgia for 3.5. I would not prefer to go back to a 3.5 game. I greatly prefer 5th edition over 3.5. All right. So this is our sorcerer class. Fighter class. What are we getting from being a fighter? We are getting a fighting style. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to help determine... This is going to help determine, perhaps, are we going a strength fighter or a dex fighter? Let's roll 1d6 and find out what our fighting style is. 3. 1, 2, 3, dueling. When you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. Fighting style. Dueling. Hey, TJ, I vote for strength lover, not a strength fighter. Your ballot has been submitted for consideration. We are also going to get a second wind, so we can recover ourselves, in combat. We are going to get an action surge. You can push yourself beyond your normal limits for a moment. On your turn, you can take one additional action on top of your regular action and a possible bonus action. So, what could be interesting, if we wanted to, this could play into our meta magic if we took Quicken Spell. Because then we could just spell cantrip with the action surge. We are also going to get an extra attack at 5th level. And then we're not quite at Indomitable, so we're not going to worry about that. Our martial archetype. We went with a Battle Master. And hi TJ. Dueling is neat with Green Flame Blade, yes. Now, as we're only using Player's Handbook to test out this playtest content, I'm only going with what's in the PHB, but that is an excellent recommendation, TJ, is Green Flame Blade. It's going very well, Donnie. We've been having a real fun time. The puns are flying, very light and conversational. Talking about a lot of different things. I hope you've been enjoying your anime as well. Now, as a battle master, we are going to learn maneuvers as a part of our combat superiority here. So this is our sorcerer archetype. And now we come down here to our fighter archetype. And now we're getting physical maneuvers that are going to be a lot like our meta magic. In fact, this is probably how she came across it, or even processes her ability to do this stuff. Is just she adapts her body. Like, her mind has physically changed, and her body has certainly physically changed for the manifestation. And so all this stuff just seems to kind of bubble up from some core inside of her. So you learn 3 maneuvers of your choice, which are detailed under maneuvers. You learn 2 additional maneuvers of your choice at 7th, 10th. All right, so we're going to get 2 more. We also have a superiority die. Which is, let's see, you have 4 that are D8s. A superiority die is expended. When you use it, you regain all of them when you finish a short or long. And you get another one at 7th level. So we have 5 D8 superiority die. And then this is going to be a separate save. DC equals, and then we'll base it off of strength or dex. We are also a student of war. You learn, or you get proficiency with one type of artisan tools of our choice. And so what we'll do real quick, because, oh, you know what? We're just talking about our trinket. Well, let's go to chapter 5 anyway. And let's look up artisan tools and roll for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's roll a 17-sided die. And we rolled 17. Wood carver's tools. So we are proficient with a disguise kit, thieves tools, and wood carver's tools. You know, as a forest gnome, maybe we grew up kind of leaving our mark, especially in the streets. You know, we did that, or we carve little trinkets and things for ourselves. Now, I believe it was, what number was it that was being on, that was on hold? 48. Raz is locking in trinket 48. And let's find out what trinket she has that very well could have led her down this aberrant mind path. Open up our dice roller. Here's our percentile, and let's roll it. Shukan's saying 12. Well, there's 100 of them, so we'll find out. You have a 1% chance. Not 12. You got close, Shukan. We rolled an 11. A 1-ounce block made from an unknown material. Now, how can this unknown material then play into her life and how she acquired these powers? Is it kind of, you know, are we describing them as mutant powers and it's some sort of like a radioactive cube and that infused her with power? Or how about this? It could be the flesh of an aboleth. Exactly, Shukan. And I was thinking if she has a pet from being an urchin, and it suggests a pet mouse, but come on. Yeah, pet mouse is a pet mouse. What if the cube actually is semi-sentient and is her pet, as well as her trinket and her spellcasting focus? And so in this case, it could be a piece of this lurker. I know that's the warlock patron, but who's to say that the patron didn't shed a piece of itself? That is supposedly what's going on, TJ. Can pets transform? Can your pet transform? I don't know. Maybe you have a transforming pet. You know what's funny is that I realized I signaled my cat up onto the desk at the same time, and I don't know where I started to learn that. See, he sees this. Hey. He sees this. He knows what it means. Raichi, hey. Come on, bud. But he's too busy rubbing on the box of the box full of minis here. So if you saw it wiggling around, that's him. If you have a pet mouse, is there anything against that? No. In fact, the urchin prompt is a pet mouse. We're actually being strange and making this 1-ounce block of mysterious something be the pet. And of course, this pet has guided her along a path. Yeah, he doesn't want to listen, Dad. All right, go back to fighter. And we're a student of war. Know your enemy. So we are 8th level fighters, so we do get know your enemy. Starting at 7th level, if you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with another creature outside of combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities compared to your own. The DM tells you if the creature is your equal, superior, or inferior in regard to 2 of the following characteristics of your choice. So we don't have improved combat superiority or relentless. Not yet, anyway. And so we're going to put know your enemy. You know, what's really interesting, too, is she's the type of character who might even just have that kind of deadpan reaction. You know, in the middle of a fight, you know, she has that kind of, like, bored, half-lidded look to her. And you know, because she's examining you. And she just goes, yeah, you're right-handed. And so when I strike you from the left, You know, so forth and so on. As she's just sort of deadpan delivering the weaknesses of her enemies as kind of a psychological thing. But also, she bluntly says what other people are hinting at or hiding, and people are hiding their weaknesses. So can you imagine this gnome just walking up, observing you for a minute, and then just, you know, just saying, oh, yeah, probably didn't pass the 5th grade. Doesn't have a good intellect or a grasp of vocabulary. And especially, look at the clothes. See the tear there? He's and also because we're a master of disguise by being an urchin. Yes, we're you know, the tears there indicate that this is not a noble. This is someone who buys used clothes and fixes them up. Ooh, a 1-inch block of Mind Flayer skin. You know what? So with that suggestion, like aboleth flesh, Mind Flayer, or even why a block? What if not a cylinder? Why not have a cylinder, like a cylinder of it? And here's a good source of inspiration for that. Take a look at the art right here. Do you see this character? This is a Mind Flayer who lost a part of his tendril and put a cap on the end of it here. And so what if she actually has a segment of Mind Flayer tendril? Or again, aboleth flesh, or she has the dream stuff of a Kuo-toa god. If you're familiar with Kuo-toa, they conjure up psychic beings like gods very easily. There's a lot of stuff that we can do with prompts like this. By the way, I love this stare. Like, this is absolutely staring into your soul. But yeah, Raz, something like that is fine. Well, we are going to be looking for a name in a little bit here. Not just yet, but super close. Don't look at those sheeps. All right, now let's build our character. Oh, we have her chassis. Now we got to drop the engine into it so that she is fully functional. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, even before that. Real quick, we have to... What are her battle maneuvers? Again, what's her personality? I ask a lot of questions. I bluntly say what other people are hinting at or hiding. People deserve respect. No one else should have to endure hardships. It's not stealing if I need it more than someone else. And as Shukan was talking about with Twin Spell, or how we came across Careful Spell by trying to protect people or include them, or Extended Spell in order to whatever effects that she wants to be under, Invisibility or Expeditious Retreat or whatever, she wants it longer. And so how could this physically manifest in her body as well? And there's a page of maneuvers here. TJ, you think riposte, precision, evasive footwork, and disarming strike? So let's take a look at evasive footwork. When you move, you can expend 1 superiority die, rolling the die and adding the number rolled to your AC until you stop moving. She has analyzed them, so why shouldn't she be able to... Ah, okay, yep. I like it, TJ, so we'll give her disarming strike. You know, she's not out for blood. Her fighter abilities are a manifestation of her body undergoing this change that she's been under since she's been little. Since she's been a rapscallion, an urchin, a tomboy playing in the gutters and whatnot before going home at night. And that's probably when she found this weird thing. Because, of course, you know, weird things lurk in the sewers and beneath the streets, especially in Waterdeep. I'm not saying this is in Waterdeep, but, you know, if you've played Dragon Heist... So, yeah, Disarming Strike is going to be a good one. Evasive Footwork, that way she can, you know, she can get out of there if she needs to. I like Evasive Footwork. Precision attack. When you make a weapon attack roll against a creature, you can expend 1 superiority die and add it to the roll. You can use this maneuver before or after making the attack roll, but before the effects of the attack are applied. I like precision attack. I think that can work. Though I would counter TJ. She has 3 more maneuvers. So she has a total of 5. I don't know about repost. Maybe. Maneuvering attack, I think, would play into the fact that she does care about others. And this is a physical manifestation of her wanting to position people into a better point in life. And of course, continuing to live when in the face of danger is a part of that. So, precision attack, yeah, I do agree, Raz. Precision attack, I think maneuvering attack is another good one for her. Hey, Misfit, welcome. I kind of like Rally. Because she is charismatic. She is a leader of other people, right? Respect all people, rich or poor. This is a way of showing them respect. By, giving them that, yeah, you can do it. By the way, here's Temps. So she has some personal stuff to help her out. And then she has some maneuvers that help other people out as well. Like maneuvering attack and rally. Of course, if you all have other suggestions, I'm open-minded. This is our character. I'm throwing stuff out there with, this seems to make sense to me. And, for the sake of, not just sitting here going, well, guys, come on. It's a freckle past a hair. We got to keep this moving. If not maneuvering attack, I could see that distracting strike instead. But we can change this anytime we want. Anytime. All right. I do believe she's going to be much more of a dex-based character, even as a fighter. As we have someone who pokes and runs. We're even talking about her poking a dead body when she was young because all the other kids were doing it and she wanted to be cool. And especially even more so with us being a duelist, having something like a rapier, I think would be a good choice. Not that she can't be strong, but I want to make sure that our charisma and our dexterity are taken care of for purposes of explaining how she exists and her multi-classing. All right, so now with this, we can put the engine of the standard array into her. And so I want to give her a... I want to give her... You know what? I would even say she might even be a little bit more dexterous than charismatic. At least on the outset here. Because she was growing up in a rough environment already. Her abilities, her skills were in sleight of hand and stealth. The charisma is a part of that, that charm that she picked up when she found that thing that changed her forever. From here, still being that scamp urchin, we could probably put a 13. The no calamari. Is that what we're calling it? That's what her trinket is the no calamari. A 13 in strength I think would be fine because she needs to climb and wedge and push and shove. No, of course, she might have a cantrip to do that even. But still, you know, she's getting into that. You know what? I actually think Constitution might be better for her in that regard. For the 13. Hola, calamari nerds. Well, hola to you. And by the way, speaking of calamari, we brought up J-Man earlier. And so, there you all go. Enjoy that. I don't see her as particularly intelligent. You know, if she kind of grew up, maybe she didn't go to school or she didn't have particular studies. And so I think we could actually drop the 8 in intelligence, and her racial modifier will bring her up to just an average intelligence, so she doesn't have a negative. She's just not, you know, universally taught, or even specifically taught. So we have our, I should put my 15 here. 15, 14, 13, 12, and you know what? 10 strength, we have average strength. 12, 10, 8. I feel pretty comfortable with this stat spread. If you have another suggestion, please let me know. I'm starting to envision a variation of Frodo that actually accepted the ring rather than rejected it. Ah, yeah, right, because the ring was having an effect, right, over time. It's something that, you know, Bilbo was trying to reject, and others who carried the ring, of course, went on to become ring wraiths. Marlboro Man, I love that reference, and that could be the case where she found the precious, and the precious has been slowly, like, you know, working itself into her, you know, into her mind, and giving her powers, but at the expense of her sanity, or just even the way she looks, so that she's starting to take on these otherworldly forms. So when we add this in, we have a 16 dex, we have a 10 int, and we are going to get a stat bump at level 4 and 8 from Sorcerer. And from Fighter, take a look at this, because Fighters and Rogues get extra bumps. So we get an ASI at 4, we get an ASI at 6, and then we get another ASI at 8. And of course, we're a level 8 fighter. So we actually have 10 points that we get to sprinkle in to our character here. Hey, Kitty Bird, welcome. It's sparkles and lights. Oh, good. No feats. We rolled no feats for her, TJ. I mean, if we did, I think Warcaster would be appropriate. Maybe? Yeah, maybe. But it just means that she's more versatile. She can engage in either combat mode or magic mode. So first, you know what? Let's bump up her constitution. Let's put that to 14. And if you ever are in a case where you have a spare point to float, and of course we're not talking about feats, put it in strength, because you get a mechanical benefit from having a higher strength score without needing your strength modifier to be higher, because that's your push, pull, drag, lift, etc. Thank you, Kitty Bird. Duly noted. So there's 2 of our 8, right? So there's 1, 2. I think we can bump her charisma up a little bit. Let's put it to an 18. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's bump up her charisma to her dexterity to 18 also. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can put 2 more points. You want to bring her con up? I was actually thinking con would be a good one. Hey, Hypnotic Gamer, welcome. Yeah, let's drop that in con, absolutely. Absolument. C'est vrai. Uh-oh. Are we linking the two together? Like, was it a stressful movie? Are you sort of in a fight or flight thing right now, Hypnotic? All right, so we have bumped up her scores. That's going to give her a strength of 0, and of course an int of 0. Dex is 4, charisma is 4, wisdom is 1, constitution is 3. Because again, her body is like being mystically reinforced. This could even internally be maybe her rib cage is fusing. So it's not ribs, it's just like a solid, like, you know, bone cover, like a shield. Oh, did you see Magic Mike? Is that what you're talking about? So with this, and by the way, as an 18th level character, our proficiency, you saw Hustlers. Okay, I don't think I've seen that one. Our proficiency is a +6 as an 18th level character. And our strength save and athletics is 0. Dex is 4, 4, and then 10 and 10 with sleight of hand and stealth. Constitution save is 9. Which is going to be really good for, you know, for hit while we're magical. Int is 0 across the board, which isn't terrible, because look, we all have our strengths. Intelligence isn't hers, and I think growing up the way she did, it's completely understandable. 7 insight, 1 everything else, and then charisma 10, persuasion 10, with 4s down the line. Excellent. Her passive perception's 11, as that's 10 plus her perception modifier. Her armor class. Now, this is where it's interesting. If she's not wearing armor, you know, she gets up in the morning, you know, she's got her skivvies on, and she goes to, you know, like brush her teeth or whatever, her armor class is going to be 17, because she has this mystical aura or tough flesh or scales or whatever. And it could possibly go higher because she can, with a shield, it can go higher. Of course, it makes casting difficult, but it'll make her even harder to hit. And she can also wear medium armor. And so if she were to wear something like a breastplate, because I would imagine by level 18 you have access to a breastplate. Or even, oh, I'm sorry, not even a breastplate. Well, that's if she wants to sneak, she'll go for a breastplate. If she wants to wear a half plate and go 15 plus dex mod, well, actually, that'd be the 17. So, I guess in this case, she can wear armor if she wishes and have the look. But if she's not wearing armor, I was about to say not wearing anything. That's technically true, but I want to keep it in line. She has a 17. Just from her otherworldly body. Her initiative is a +4, because that's simply a dex check. Yeah, it depends on the situation. Because there's nothing saying, look, if she needs to look tough, she wants to pretend to be a city guard, strap on armor. You have the ability to do so and be proficient in it. But your magic, your tough flesh or whatever, is suppressed because you can only have one source of AC. I know I'm preaching to the choir for most of you, but if anyone out there is watching and is new, you choose the one that you want. But yeah, the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer gets something akin to the Dragon Scales from the Dragon Blood Sorcerer, TJ.
Can I have 4 capsules? I'm splitting 2 and 2 between me and my fiancée.
No problem. Hypnotic, what I did from last night, I put all your pulls into a list, and then whatever you want to send him, I'll just put that off to the side. Does that make sense? So, you know, you can just send him whatever you want. Will that work for you? Now, hit points. At level 1, you get your maximum amount of hit points. The list is on our Discord, Hypnotic. Are you still on the Discord? Okay, I might have forgotten to put the group role of Mini sponsor, so you wouldn't have gotten a notification. But if there's a channel, Oh Sheeps, if you can direct Hypnotic Gamer towards it, so she can see the miniatures that she has. So at level 1 as a sorcerer, we get all 6 of our 6-sided hit die. Then for our remaining 9 levels of our 10, you get half plus 1. So that's 4 times our 9. Now for all 8 levels of our fighter, you get half plus 1 of the D10. So that's going to be 6. Now, keep in mind, you do not, just because you have a first level in another class, we're talking character level, not class level. So you can't milk it and say, well, I'm going to take one level of fighter, cha-ching. Sure, you get your 10 first, if that is your first. Now I'm going to take one level in paladin, cha-ching, full 10 hit points with paladin. It wouldn't work that way. Unless you have a DM that says otherwise, but normally, no. So we have 8 levels of fighter and that are half plus 1, which is 6. Then for all of our levels, all 18 of them, because this is character-based, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. So we have 18 times 3. So we have 6 plus 36, which is going to be 42. And then we have 8 times 6 is... Come on, highlight. There we go. 48. So we're already up to 90 hit points. And then we have 18 times 3, and that is going to be 94. So we have 184 hit points with this build at level 18. If she goes Subtle Spell and her shield is her focus, she could cast spells while in battle. So that's a side point, Raz, which is absolutely doable. However, we haven't really built her to do that. So we can all note that, and if anyone out there is watching this at a later point in time, that's a good technique. Though for the character, as we've developed her mentality, her lifestyle, I don't know if that's something that she would pursue. Or otherwise, Raz, if we were to give her a feat, the Warcaster feat could work too. Your DM made you roll your HP. Volan is slightly under average. Oh, so everyone had to roll. Did you get a re-roll on a 1, or did everyone just have to eat it if that happened? Yeah, rolling hit points can be scary. Very exhilarating. All right, so now if we're attacking with a knife or a dexterity-based weapon, which is a melee finesse weapon or most ranged weapons, that is going to be at a plus 10 to hit. And so we'd be swinging that knife for 1d4 plus 4 piercing. Now, if we're casting a spell, actually, I'm sorry, that's 1d4 plus 6. She is a dueler. Dueling, so you get that extra plus 2 damage from stabby stabs. If you're wielding one weapon in a hand. And she can have a shield. It's just a one weapon. And of course we can go through and give her a rapier or something else that we'd like to. And if she's doing it off of strength, then it's a plus 6. She's not terrible at it. She's just not as good. Now, if she's attacking with her force of personality off of charisma here, she's casting off of charisma, so 4 plus 6 is 10. So just like with our Knif, we're casting spells at a plus 10. And to resist the effects of our spells, you need an 18. You just add 8 to your attack to get your difficulty class for your saves. Our spell slots were 4, 3, 3, 3, and 2. Because we are a 10th level sorcerer. Welcome back, Shukan. You're too tired to go to sleep. How does that work? And she has earned herself a name, everyone, because we almost completely have a finished character. So we have a plus 10 to hit, an 18 to save, and what we need to do now is go through... We're not going to choose her spells just yet. We can put a little polish on her in a little bit, but I do want to show where you are getting your spells from. So at first level, you see here... You see here where you know 2 spells? Now, being a psionic sorcerer, we're actually getting some bonus spells too, which is really cool. But as per regular sorcerer, there we go. We know 2 spells. And you see how it goes to 3 spells known at level 2? Ta-da! And it has to be here as a level 1 spell because that's all we can learn. So we just grow from here. So this is level 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, as you level up, you can swap a spell of your choice. So if something's not working for you, sure, take your new spell, but you can swap out an old spell for something else that you think you might get a little bit more use. So you have a semi-fixed spell sheet as a sorcerer. There we go. And you know what? By the time you get here, you might say, all I need is Modify Memory and Rary's Telepathic Bond. And so instead of taking your 9 spell here, get an extra level 1 spell. Or put your level 10 spell in a level 3 and have fun with it. Because if this is providing you the mechanics for that level that you want, put it in something else. If you hit level 7, you don't have to drop it here. You could put your level 7, your initial, not even a retraining spell. You could just drop your level 7 in as a level 2 spell. If I were to, not fix per se, if I were to adjust one thing, it would probably be to take the redundant naming of spell level, and because it's tied to your character level or your class level. And so I would come up with a different name for that and not use level, because for some folks it might be initially confusing. You're too tired to get out of the chair, and the chair's too uncomfortable to sleep in. If I fall back, I hit my head on the bed frame. Fall right, break about 20... Oh, don't break minis. Fall left, I crack my head on the PHB. Oh, no. Do you like that set, by the way, Shukan? I hope that you do. Oh, you... and so TJ, you ate those low hit points and you loved it? The books, yes. Ah, there you go. O'Sheeps. So O'Sheeps did bring enough to share with the class. So someone out there hopefully has pizza, because, ooh, one of those sounds really good right now. Ah, yes. Well, they're on their way. I think you're going to get them on Monday, Shukan? Oh, dude, I would destroy some Chinese food right now, Shukan. Unfortunately, there's not a Chinese place open at 1:48 a.m. Oh, but I would absolutely destroy some Chinese food. TJ, you want to name her Elizabeth Smolson? I'm fine with that. If anyone else wants to throw a name or a suggestion out there, she has earned a name. We have manifested her from the potential of all realities. This is the character that we have made. We've given her a personality. We've come up with a backstory for her. She has a history. We understand how she makes decisions, which means she's much easier to roleplay. And for any of you out there who are like, I don't know, like the spells just don't seem optimum. No, optimum according to who? What type of game are we running? But if we understand her creativity and the things that she's gone through in life, and to think like a scamp on the run, well, maybe you can find other uses for the spells that you have. Misfit says, you mean not Elizabeth DeWitt, to TJ? Sherlocka Homie as a female Sherlock Holmes, says Raz. It is in Cleveland, yes. Oh, by the way, her save DC on her superiority die. So it's going to be off of Dex plus proficiency, so 10 plus that floating 8 for her spell. So to resist her physical effects is an 18 as well. Hypnotic, we're in just a moment. We are just finishing up this character, and I'll pop your capsules. But yeah, so aside from a name, here we go. We have an awesome multi-class character that it's playing into the strengths and to the effects that we're getting from our sorcerer archetype, the Aberrant Mind. So I'm seeing names like Elizabeth DeWitt, Sherlock or Sherlocka, and what was the other one that TJ... Your vote changed to be Elizabeth DeWitt. You also had Smolson. Shukan says Qilabess.
Give me our capsule.
We'll do, Shukan. So what can we do with the name here? So probably, let's do... Qilabess. DeSmollock. Shiny McShineface. Loop Mutton is from the Gnome female name list. I don't mind going by those lists. If we build it as a community, I feel it's a little bit like, yeah, we did it together. So here we go. The beautiful monster creation from all of your suggestions is Qilabess DeSmollock. Ta-da. No, Kitty, you can be silly. Absolutely, you're fine.